That 16-year-old Plige Mervin faced down a couple of weeks ago. A campus security guard with her arm twisted behind her back. This is Plige tonight. That same arm on a mend from a broken wrist.
Put me through a lot of pain and hurt.
Plige and some friends with cake celebrated a birthday on campus. The lunch bell had just rang. Plige says she was bumped, accidentally dropped her plate of cake. A security guard told her to pick it up.
I picked it up. When I was finished picking it up, I went to the bathroom.
He then insisted, she said, she go back and clean it all up. She did a second, even third time.
I start picking the rest of the crumbs up off the ground, and that's when I start walking to class.
Plige maintains she complied as best she could.
He was following me, and he said, "Hey, you."
And before Plige knew it, she found herself face down on a table with this allegedly being yelled at her by that security guard.
He just said to hold still. He called me a nappy head. I was just thinking, like, how humiliated I looked and embarrassed and how hurt I was.
Now, the guy who took the video along with his sister were reportedly also arrested. Now,
last February, some kids in Sarah's 6th grade math class told her she smelled, so she dabbed on some perfume. That's when her trouble started.
I didn't do anything wrong. I just sprayed it on because I thought I didn't smell good. Next thing you know, the whole class complains for no reason.
Sarah says her teacher took her out of class and told a police officer assigned to the school that she was being disruptive. That officer wrote Sarah this ticket, a Class C misdemeanor. It cited her for disruption of class and assessed a $150 fine. Sarah's attorney says the tickets are common in Texas and argues they send the wrong message.
We're basically criminalizing school discipline. So things that you or I would have been sent to the principal's office for, a child now may receive a ticket for, and they end up in the criminal justice system very, very young.
So first of all, we have more police in schools than we've had for 20 years, so this is not a new idea. And the police are trained for the streets, not for classrooms. And what the result that we're seeing in these schools is high rates of arrests of young people for very minor infractions, like talking back to a teacher, infractions that should be handled by talking to a counselor or a teacher or a principal. So for example, in Georgia, a 6-year-old arrested, handcuffed, taken to the police station for having a temper tantrum in her kindergarten class. In Mississippi, we have a young high school student who was arrested, spent about 2 weeks in jail for wearing the wrong color socks. The police are enforcing the zero tolerance policies of these schools, so what it is resulting in is all across the country, students being arrested for these minor infractions. And unfortunately, African Americans are getting hit by what we call extreme discipline policies at about 3.5 times than whites for often the very same offense. And the result is higher dropout rates and more young people in the criminal justice system, which ultimately does not make us safe. One last thing, the data shows that police in schools does not make us safer. I mean, many schools have 20 to 40 doors. You would need a military squad to guard every single door. And so it's not resulting in increased safety, but it is in fact resulting in more kids not in college, not in a career, and more kids in the criminal justice system.
So why are these kids getting arrested? As we've seen, these aren't isolated incidents. These incidents are a product of a structure that oppresses certain people so that it can support, reinforce, and reproduce a system of domination and repression. But how exactly is this carried out? What role do stereotypes play in producing a sort of common sense practicality of criminalization? But let us not get too caught up in theoretical abstractions. This is something that pierces the flesh, like the barbed wire fence at Bayside Community Day School. This is some real shit.
Cops, you know, they seem to do their job out here and they seem to be, you know, protective. But in my eyes, they're not, you know. In my eyes, cops out here, they're kind of crooked, you know, because they abuse their power. Out here, cops like to just pull you over, frisk you down for no reason, pat you up, you know, without even reading you your rights first, you know.
The first time I remember getting harassed by the police, I was in Alhambra. I was probably about 10 years old. You know what I mean? I can't remember the exact year, but I was walking down the street and police pulled up on me. You know what I mean? They pulled me over, you know. They told me I looked like a suspect. They searched me, and you know what I mean? And I was scared to death, man.
You were 9 years old.
Probably 9, 10. Yeah, I was living in Alhambra. You know what I mean? 'Cause like that's how I can remember my life, where I was living at certain times. You know what I mean? 'Cause like I went to school in Alhambra from like half of 4th grade to like the beginning of 6th grade. So like probably like my whole 5th grade and half of 4th grade and like a piece of 6th grade. You know what I'm saying?
And so what ended up happening? Like,
nah, they just searched me and told me like if I'm doing anything, they gonna get us. You know, go get me. You know what I mean? And I got jacked with a group of friends before too, but like I'm talking about this time really stood out to me because I was by myself.
Put your hands behind your back, Kevin. You're under arrest. Put your hands behind your back. I'm going to take you to jail. Okay? First of all, okay, listen to me. You have, none of this tear stuff. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have a right to have an attorney present while you are questioned. If you can't afford to hire one, the court will appoint you one. Do you understand that? Say yes or no. You do. Okay, let's have a seat in the back seat. So when you stop crying and getting all hysterical, I'll talk to you, okay?
All right, so why do you think you guys have cops here? Like, what do you think their purpose is?
Well, we're a continuation school, so it might be, you know, some violence here. People may think there might be some violence here, but really there's not really no violence here.
Why do you think people would assume that there's violence here?
Well, because due to the fact, you know, that we go to Bayside, and usually continuation schools are known for, you know, students who don't do good in their regular schools, but it's not even that, you know.
Cause trouble or
it's
fight
because,
a lot, but it's not even like that out here, though.
Yeah, it's just everybody here. Honestly, there's less drama here than at a regular high school, you know. At regular high schools, there's a lot of rumor spreading, a lot of like, you know, a lot of unnecessary stuff in comprehensive high schools. And here it's just everybody is working towards the same goal, and we all want to graduate and walk the stage, you know. And that's.
I can just remember incidents like I was in the library during library time, and the librarian kept on like, I didn't have a belt on that day, so she kept on considering, I guess she thought my prototype was just prone to sagging, so she feeling I was sagging on purpose, but I really didn't have no belt. Because when I went to the principal office, that's where I was showing the principal I didn't have no belt. The woman kept on making gestures talking about it stunk in here because somebody's pants was pulled down, and she was talking about me because I kept on pulling up my pants. So she kept on saying it, she kept on saying it, and she kept on saying it, and then people in the library started laughing, and everybody thought it was funny. So eventually I told the librarian, it's stinking here because you got your legs open, close your legs, bitch. And they kicked me out of school for 2 weeks behind that. You know what I mean? But like, the cold thing about it was like, you know what I mean, like why she didn't get in trouble. You know what I mean? Like now that I'm older, like man, she was harassing a kid, you know what I mean? But I was the bad guy and I went home, you know what I mean? Because I carry a stigma upon me. You know what I mean? It's like I'm already guilty when I go to the principal office. I've seen it over and over and over and over again. And it's like a lot of kids see this, but like nobody knows it. It's like so invisible. Like nobody ever like hear the story of the troubled child. They always hear the story of the teacher. You know what I mean?
So both of y'all have gotten pulled over before?
Oh yeah, definitely. I've been arrested for so many things.
Last year here I'm walking down that street right there, I'm walking down Paris, and there's some cop shows up. He says we were throwing up gang signs. When really I didn't throw up a sign. I probably said peace out to a friend or something, but I didn't throw up no gang signs. Then he wrote down my name, when's your birthday, sit on the curb, and do all this extra stuff.
I know before you know, I start really getting, you know, bold with the cops, you know, because it was one time I was walking, it was a hot ass day, and like I had my sweater over my shoulder, you know, it was hot, my backpack was big, and so a group of cops hopped out the car like while I was walking, and they was just like, get on the ground, drop your stuff, there was a burglary and you fit the description or whoop-de-whoop blah. And so I said, you know, I just started laughing. I said, I'm finna make all y'all feel dumb as hell right now. So, you know, they searched my stuff, didn't find nothing, you know, it was a bag.
Time out there, children. Who's ready for a pop quiz? What do you think was in his bag? Was it A, medicinal marijuana, B, Skittles, or C, condoms? And the correct answer is C, condoms.
Man, that's racist.
Bag of rubbers, you know. I came from the store, you know, and it was just like, what's up with that? You know, what's up with cops nowadays? They just, I don't know, it's weird.
The police was like so much a presence in our life that by the time like you're like in high school, junior high, high school, you didn't even want to go to jail. It's crazy because like they harass you, then like they harass your homies, and then like then your homies start going to juvenile hall, you know what I mean? And then it's like all of them got stories of juvenile hall. Then you want one, you know what I mean? You want to go to jail, man. Well, like that was so much what it was with us, man. Like my older cousins, my dad didn't being at first, like it was like shit. Like you thought it was just part of being a man.
Do you see any correspondence between the media that your students identify with and specific moral panics or folk devils in media?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, in my rural campus especially, there's a lot of talk about those people. And it's whatever group, even sometimes they belong to the group, but it's those people, the ones who are bad, who are immoral. And they all agree. We have these conversations and they all agree. Just a couple weeks ago, we had a discussion about welfare moms. And I explained that it was the history of the term, the myth of the welfare mom, was generated in the 80s, and that it is a myth, that there are actually very few, less than 1% of people defrauding the government for welfare. And my students told me I was wrong, and that they doubted my statistics on that. And I was also told that illegal immigrants are the biggest abusers of welfare, and seriously morbidly obese people are abusers of welfare, and that those people are draining the country, and that's the problem in this country. And if we could just fix that, you know, the next stop would be to get rid of the homosexuals. But it did. It came up in class, and one of the loudest students in my class arguing with me was a young woman who was probably morbidly obese, and she was arguing that those people need to stop feeding their kids the wrong food, and that those people need to eat better and make better choices, because it's all about choices. And the entire class agreed with her that it was about those people making wrong choices. And we all know what the wrong choices are, and yet those people are the ones who make them. So, you know, and there was a real moral imperative happening in the class. They felt morally obligated to convince me of this. And I finally had to end the discussion because it was getting really heated with the entire 28 students telling me that I was wrong, even though I had logic and statistics and rationale and history behind me.
Now, a big problem with this, the language of the school to prison pipeline, is that it is very simple. It makes sense. You know, it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense to me. Students act up, get kicked out of school, they get sent to prison. However, if anything makes that much sense that fast, then you should really think about it, because it's highly problematic. At Fremont High School, there is a major, what they call race riot. Really what it was white parents and white students started literally attacking black students on campus. In response to this issue, in addition to some other issues that have been going on, black youth organized themselves and formed these groups. You guys heard of the Slossons or gladiators? They were later called gangs. And by 1959, there is a body that meets. And this body is people from the urban planning offices, nonprofit groups, and they form what's called the Welfare Planning Council subregion of Southern California. And they come out with this report, which is called Youth Needs and Problems in the South Central Region. And all it discusses and talks about is all of these supposed issues and problems that are going on with black youth in South Central Los Angeles. So who do you think they label as the problem, the number one problem? Who is it? It is the supposed gangs, right? Now this may sound like, oh, this, you know, this is, of course, because of what you hear about the Crips and Bloods, right? But the whole idea of what I'm trying to convey here is that the labeling of black youth, in particular Crips, Bloods, however you want to say it, as the problem is nothing new. The question is, why did these organizations form? So the Slauson Gladiators form in large part because of organizations. You guys heard of the Spook Hunters by any chance? So the Spook Hunters is an all-white gang that is trying to keep out these sort of like black people moving in from Texas and Louisiana into what they consider to be their neighborhood. So areas such as Whittier, Southgate, big time, Inglewood, all these used to be, surprisingly, you would never know from right now, we used to be all white during this moment in time. So the Gladiators and Slausons form in order to keep, essentially to protect from firebombing, street fights, so on and so forth, right? So instead of the Welfare Planning Council forming to try to look at what are really the issues of what's going on, it's easy to point the finger at whom? The black youth who are just simply trying to protect themselves and their families.
The funny thing that the cops do here is like when they roll up on you, they'll like say, they'll pretend they were from a enemy hood that they think you're from, and they'll drive by, you know, and diss your hood while, you know, while you just walk in there. Like, for instance, they'll walk by and say, you know, fuck Sex Cash or fuck, you know, Edgemont or whatever, and then you look and it's a cop, you know, in a narc car, and it's like, what's up with that? You know,
yeah, they
like,
try to act like they're part of a gang,
yeah,
in your hood or something. Or if you have tattoos, they automatically assume that
you know where you get your tattoos from.
What does it say?
Yeah, who?
Like
what's
that.
the M stand
for? I got time for that. I'm trying to get somewhere.
Yeah,
and you're trying to
and
do
it's
something unnecessary.
Something we don't have time for, you know.
I was talking about my niece with the homework. Like, she from Watts, man. You know what I mean? Well, it's my sister's, my wife's sister, you know, I was helping her with her homework, and, you know, and like, I looked at all them answers, and I'm like, you know what I mean, if you really think about it, any of these answers can be right. You know what I mean? When reading their homework, like, if you really think about it, like, you know what I mean, and they like, you gotta pick which one fits the best, you know what I mean? And like, I was thinking like, maybe this ain't even a test about like, is one of them right? It's a test to see how well you assimilate and how well you adapt to their system, and like what type of person you are, you know what I mean? And like, the lower your grade and the more you match their answers, they get the right answers to the higher assimilation value, the higher your grade goes and the higher your grade point average is and all of that, you know what I mean? But that's in the classroom, you know what I mean? And then it's like and that's if the teacher likes you. You know what I mean? And the principal likes you, and the security guards like you, and it's like, if they believe in the stigma attached to your body type, you know what I mean? Because like, body types carry stigmas, you know what I mean? And then like, if all it takes for you one time to fit into one of their stigmas one time, and then it's over with for you. They'll get to looking at you as a rebel, you know what I mean? They get to looking, because like the smartest person in the lowest person with the lowest grade in the class, a lot of times they're the leaders. You know what I mean? And that's the teacher. The teacher trying to keep everybody away from the lowest grade person, because like they might inspire them to think outside this class regimen. You know what I mean? But then like the person who's highly assimilated into this class thing, they gonna like, you know what I mean? They're another leader because people are trying to get to like good grades like them.
There are certain students who are smart, and you can just tell that they're smart. There's something on fire in their eyes. They're engaged, and when they talk, they maybe don't know how to articulate. They use a lot of slang, but the ideas that they're talking about are really great ideas. They go at a deeper level. These students, though, when they write, because this is how I see my students, when they write, they are, you know, very subpar. They're writing sometimes at, you know, I get as bad as 5th grade level. But they use a lot of big words. They use them incorrectly. And my job is to teach them how to articulate their ideas on paper correctly. And these students are ethnic students. They're not just, you know, economically disadvantaged white kids. These are ethnic students, and they come from different levels of economics, but they are ethnic students. And I will call them out, not in a classroom environment, but one-on-one and on their paper and comments, and say, you know, you're using this word wrong, and I'll circle the words. And I mean, usually it's the same problem. It doesn't happen once in a paper. And I'll say, you know, look this word up. It doesn't mean what you think it means. And I've pulled them aside and gotten the dictionary out and shown them what the definitions of words are that they're using incorrectly. And they tell me every time. No one's ever said that. They say I just sound smart. And I had a student this semester, this situation happened again, and I said, of course they say you're smart because you are smart. And this student said to me, yeah, and I think they just kept passing me along. And I said, well, you're very likable and very smart. And he said, yeah, but I also want to get it right.
What's your overall intake? Like, do you think cops help students at school though? Like, do you think that there's a positive influence at all, or do you think it's completely negative? Do you think it's just not necessary?
I think it's not positive or negative to have like cops at school. I think it's like, it's useful. Useless, you know, because when we see cops, everyone knows not to, oh yeah, there's a cops, you know, not to do anything. It's helpful to have a cop to stop any serious drama from going on, but just constantly having a cop every day is useless, you know, because every day there's not as much drama as there should be. You get it?
Yeah.
Kinda. See where I'm coming from? And I think that's why students have beef with each other. Just because cops are on campus and the cops make the students mad, so they take it out on each other, and then that's when the cop really have a reason to jump in and, you know, do what the cops do when they slam people and, you know, do the crazy things that they do. I don't know. It's crazy. It's a crazy world, you know, especially cops nowadays with everything going on. Very crazy.
What, once again, with the school to prison pipeline model completely ignores is this behavior of which supposedly needs to be modified is the same behavior of black radicalism, which is key in terms of demands for black freedom. So oftentimes people, black youth will respond to something happening in school, in large part, maybe not anything having to do with school, but the fact that they don't have any food at home, or the fact that somebody got laid off a long time ago and now they're on welfare, they just lost welfare, so now people are trying to figure out, where am I going to live tomorrow? These issues undergird what's going on, and that's not being addressed at all. So you focus on behavior and miss the bigger structural problems that are going down.
What kind of advice do you think you can give to like some kids that, you know, might be feeling what you felt growing up or what you feel now? What do you think they can do different, or if they can do
Don't give up, man. Like, even if the world is against you because they know who you are, you know, a lot of times, because like, I could have gave up, man. I was dead, man. I felt like, I don't want to put no extras on it, but at times I felt suicidal growing up, you know what I mean? Being in all these like crazy predicaments, you know what I mean? But then like, I've been through them for a reason, you know what I mean? I went through them so I can like express myself now. And like when I face hard times now, when the situation is up against me, I still prevail because like, I understand, I'm used to like not having, you know what I mean? So it's like you put me in a position, in a place on an even ball field and everybody else been having, I'm a sell because I'm used to living, I'm used to going over obstacles, you know what I mean? My man explained it the best. My man Brian, like it's like a rubber band, like a rubber band effect, like they can only pull you back so far, you know what I mean? And then like the farther they pull you back, when they let go of you, like the farther you soar. Shout out to over here on Bayside. Oh yo, Terrence Stewart. You know what I mean? Students with Disability Union, SDU, we beautiful. You know, we go hard to paint what others can't paint, one don't. You know what I mean? Shout out to Hip Hop Congress, Art of the Poor, Black. You know, brothers leading African Americans through consciousness and knowledge. Art of the Poor, Art of the Poor people orchestrating optimistic renditions. You know what I mean? Art of the, shout out to them organization, Bayside, ASB. You know what I mean? They go hard too. And the youth over here at the homeless workshop over here off of Lemon and Michigan, you know what I mean? We do every Wednesday. Man, we ain't got no real group name yet, but we were coming up with it, you know? We do it every Wednesday. Yup. Oh yeah, KP, the Kid Products.